Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Detective Comics issue number 1027. That's right, the 1000th issue of Detective Comics, which had absolutely nothing to do with the current story in Detective Comics. That's right, even though Tomasi, who is writing Detective Comics right now, has a story in here, pretty much had nothing to do with anything whatsoever. And isn't that usually the trick that Marvel and DC, they both do it? Isn't that the trick that they usually use to try and screw you over and get you to buy a comic? They'll be like, oh, it's issue number 120. This isn't a side issue which doesn't have anything to do with anything. No. This is a part of the regular ongoing. You don't want to miss the 1000th issue, right? Or more specifically, the 1027th issue. All right, the first appearance of Batman was in issue number 27. And this is 1,000 issues later. We just did the celebration with 1,000 1,000 issues of Batman. Now 27 issues later, got you again. You got to give us another $10. Hey, it's 144 pages. I like that. But you know, there's a bunch of stories in here. There's some stories in here I just straight up skipped over. All right, you can imagine if you look at the book, you'll see some writers' names or some artists on there. And you'll know right away. Oh yeah, Professor skipped this one. The Fraction and Zardosky story. Very funny. I liked it. The second from last page on there, really good. I dug on that. Probably my favorite story in here. Even the opening story where it just turns into, it's like, oh, this is going to be the one story. Because that's what you usually expect to see. You usually expect, okay, it's issue number 1027. They're going to charge $10. They're going to give us a whole bunch of pages. 144, cool. But the trick is that they would give us, the first part would be the actual story that's continuing, and then a whole bunch of extra fluff and stuff that we could or might not enjoy. But, it's extra for the issue because it's an anniversary issue, according to them. That's cute. That's really cute. But no, I didn't even get that. You gave me zero reason to be happy about buying this comic book. If they would have said, hey guys, this is an anniversary issue, no continuity in this, just do your thing, I would have been happier. I wouldn't have minded this book because then I'm not going to buy it. I'm not interested in buying the 80th Batman or the 80th, which I did, and the 80th Robin, which I did, or the 80th Joker, which I didn't, or the 80th Green Lantern, which I won't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not interested in that. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. So I won't. So I can't get upset about something. I know what it is in advance, so I'm not going to buy it. But when you put issue number 1027 on here, and I'm thinking at least like 10 pages will be devoted, minimum 10 pages. I was hoping for 20, but I was expecting 10 pages will be devoted towards the current ongoing Detective Comics story. It was not. Instead, it just devolves into, here's this hero, and here's this villain, and here's this villain, and here's all these other villains, and this is what my villains are like. I don't need a rotary of the damn Batman Rogues Gallery. I know them. You know what that story would have been good for? A free comic book day story to get some people into the Batman comic books, because the only villains that they know of are the ones that they've seen on the big screen. Maybe from the old Batman the Animated Series. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, they're villains. There's so many villains. The best villains are for Batman. The best. Bro. Like, this was completely unnecessary. And it was actually annoying to see that. 144 pages for only $10 sounds like a great deal. Except what if it was 144 empty pages? Would that be good? No, it wouldn't. And nobody would say that it was. I was genuinely disappointed by this book. And I noticed that a couple people teamed up in here. I'm going to point one out specifically. I noticed at one point Tom King teamed up to write a Batman story in here, in this book, with the artist being Walter Simonson, the guy who wrote the greatest run on any comic book hero ever. Voted on, sorry, the pen is lifted, the ink is dry. Walter Simonson, on his run of Thor, greatest run of any comic book ever. All right? Opinions vary, but most of the opinions vary in that direction, mine included. I'm happy to be part of that minority. I don't always need to walk on the other side of the street. Jeez. Sometimes I do walk with the crowd. In this particular case, That's the story I'm more interested in. No, not the story that was written, because screw that nonsense. No. What I'm more interested in, the story I'm interested in knowing is how DC came up to Tom King and said, hey, Tom, you want to write a story for that? We're going to pay you. We're going to pay you. You want to write a story for the Detective Comics 1027? Yeah. All right, cool. Just, a little throwaway story, whatever you want to do. Something that you've always wanted to do. Yeah, do it, And what artist would you like to work with? And Tom just kind of sits back. This is just in my mind. This is my imagination. Just kind of sits back and goes, I've always dreamed of working with Walter Simonson. Do you think that we can get Walter Simonson to do something? Oh, Tom, you know what? I'm going to call him and ask. How about that? Would you like that? Would you like that? And I'm not trying to make fun of Tom King on this. This is simply the story. When I saw that in the credits, that's where all of a sudden I got the idea. Where I literally imagined being silly. This being said, I don't think they really did this. Duh. I doubt they really did this. But imagine if the DC Comics, publishers and whatnot just walked up to Kelly Sue DeConnick. Hey, who would you like to work with for the Batman story? Oh, I always like to work with John Romita Jr. Would you like me to get it for you? Would that make you happy? Like, I just imagine something like that. Like, just being silly. Why? Because it seems to me like the only people who really benefited off of this book, besides the, DC Comics themselves, is the writers. Maybe the artists too, I don't know. But, like, a lot of the times here, there were writers who didn't deserve to be in this book, who have shown to have massively declining sales because we're speaking with our dollars. They're very undeserving writers with artists who just deserve better for the most part. That's the way I see it. Granted, Marv Wolfman got to do a story in here, a story with, Nightwing, which is, boom, hey, saying, I'm digging on that. I'm digging on a lot of that. But for the most part, this is something where it's like the writers get paid to have fun and do this thing they always wanted, and we get footed with the bill. And we don't even get, in my opinion, good stories for the most part out of this. There were some that were decent, like I said, but for the most part, fleeting. So no, I am genuinely disappointed that this book was even made. If you're going to do an issue number 127, make it a damn part of the freaking active ongoing storyline instead of just trying to bilk an extra $6 American out of us for whatever. Mind you, I don't care about the price. Somebody went and said, I think you're just bothered by the price of the book. Shut up. Stop talking. Literally, the one thing that I didn't talk about, that I forgot to talk about on this one book that I reviewed, I don't even remember which one it was, maybe one of the Empire books, whatever. It was some book where it's like the price actually went up on the book. I don't even pay attention to the price when I go in. I walk into my comic book store, I'm like, hey, what's up? Here's the books that I want. You know what I'm saying? Pull the books from my pull list, boom, 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 and then bam, I just slap my debit card down and I go away. You know what I'm saying? I got money. I'm good with money. I'm not worried about money. I don't even think about the price of my books on there. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't know my comic book retailer so well, I would maybe think that maybe he was trying to screw me over on prices or something like that, right? But I trust him. He's a good guy. And for the most part, I really don't look at my comic book bill. I never do. Go in to Gotham Central. Ask Carlos. Hey, does Bill ever take his receipts? Like, no, he actually tells me to throw them away right there. Every single time. Because I don't want to be responsible for making sure it gets in the proper receptacle. You know what I'm saying? Just don't print me out the second receipt. They know better by now. I'm good. The price never bothers me. Ever. For you guys, though, it would bother me. It bugs me that this book was put down as an issue, a numbered issue, not just a, hey, it's, one of those special giant size number ones or an annual or something like that where we could literally just look at it and say, yeah, we don't actually need to buy this. It's just one of those anniversary issues. Who cares? But when they number it, you kind of expect it to follow the continuity, at least one of the stories. The story by the freaking main guy who's writing the current series. But no, they couldn't even do that. And I'm genuinely bothered by that. That's what actually makes me feel like I'm a sucker. Like I just got played, you know? Not something I enjoy feeling. I don't think anybody enjoys feeling that, you know? Anyway, guys, that's me. And don't forget, if you ever walk into a comic book store, look around for the sucker. If you don't see him, you're him. Anyway, just enjoy. That just came to my head. Anyway, guys, yeah, did not enjoy this. This shouldn't have been made. Highly disappointed that DC and Marvel continue to do stupid freaking gimmicks like this just to try and make a buck and then number it. So it's like, yeah, it's a gimmick, but you have to get it anyway, right? They don't do that with movies. They can't. You can't make a freaking Batman movie or a Batman TV show or a Batman whatever and be like, yeah, all these were cool, but this one sucked. But you had to get it. You had to watch it. You had to pay for it, right? An individual pay for, like, you paid for this one and this one and this one and this one, and then I give you crap, but you have to pay for that one also because, you know, it's in a row, right? No. There are people, if Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, Part 3 stank, in my opinion. I don't own Part 3. You know what I'm saying? I own Part 2, even though I'm not the biggest fan, at least it was pretty good, all right? But, like, if there's a movie you don't like, even if it's part of a trilogy, maybe you don't get it. Because screw that noise. Maybe you got in a box set where it's like, whatever, it's cheap enough to begin with. They can't do that to us with, in my opinion, any other form of media. But with comic books, it's like they know they got us because so many of us are collectors and we see that number and it's in a row and we want to have a complete collection. So we decide to buy this crap and stuff this crap into our boxes filled with some other crap because they've done it to us multiple times. That's where I take offense. DC and Marvel need to grow the hell up and recognize that that is absolutely not a sustainable business model to run on. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some jackass on YouTube, right? So go ahead and like this video, watch an ad, maybe check out my Patreon. I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.